Hello, my name is Kendall Vainstra, and for this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about the drug Krokodil. It'll go along with my presentation with that as well. Krokodil is rated one of the most serious and dangerous drugs in the world. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about what it is, where it started, and some of the effects that it has on the body as well with that. Krokodil started in Russia in 1932, and it actually started as a medical prescription there. However, in Russia, they struggle with a serious heroin addiction problem. Soon, Krokodil became the new drug of choice there. They took over heroin. Reason why for that, one of the big reasons is that the accessibility of it and the cheapness of it. Krokodil is only $1 to $2 to make, so it's only a couple bucks, so it's pretty cheap per injection, whereas heroin is $20 per injection. So there is a big price range in there with that. However, the life expectancy of a heroin user is 4 to 7 years, and the life expectancy of a Krokodil user is only 1 to 2 years. So I'm not saying that either drug should be used. They're both bad drugs, and neither of them should be used. I'm not saying that, but with that, I am saying that Krokodil has more negative and long-lasting effects on you than what heroin will. However, Krokodil did not just stay in Russia. It left. It got into some other countries. It got into Mexico pretty badly. It affected a lot of the poor and broken towns there, some more of the poverty-stricken towns, and it took a big toll on those as well. And luckily, Krokodil has technically not been verified in the U.S., but there has been many cases where people say that they have seen what they think to be Krokodil, but it was not technically verified with that as well. Krokodil, the reason why it is such a common drug in many places is because it's really easy to make. You can buy all of the supplies at your local hardware or grocery store. It consists of paint thinner, hyaluronic acid, iodine, red phosphorus, and coodine. Luckily, in 2012, they banned the sale of over-the-counter coodine. So to get that, you'd have to get a prescription. So that did decrease the sale did decrease the sale and the amount of Krokodil that was on the streets and the users. However, many people found a way around that. They found codeine about as much as they needed on the black market. So it slowed it down to a point until people found a way to reroute it. So yeah, it's none of the ingredients for it are real expensive, and they're all pretty easy to access with that as well. So once you make it, you got to inject it into your body, and you have to inject it in your vein. That's very important, because if you miss the vein, it can cause an infection and abscesses. And if these abscesses develop, it can turn into green, excuse me, gangrene. And if this happens, oftentimes that part of the body has to be amputated. Other times, where it is injected, the skin will begin to rot and fall off, because if you miss the vein, it's going directly into your body, and then it affects that skin, and then that skin begins to rot until the point till it falls off, and then it exposes bare bone. However, even if you do inject it into the vein, if too many chemicals go through that vein or into that injection, the chemicals will cause that vein to burst, releasing it into your body, causing the same effects. So like you'll see on my slides, you can see some users with multiple injection spots on their body. You have to keep switching your injection spots with that as well. So once you've injected this, the addiction sets in. It is very, very addictive. It's actually 10 times more addictive than morphine, and you hear of people quite often becoming addicted to morphine. So it is very easy to get hooked on. One of the reasons why people get addicted to it, and the sad part is they don't even know they're getting addicted to Krokodil, because they go and buy it off the streets. And what the seller does is he says he's selling Krokodil, and he says he's selling heroin, but he's actually selling Krokodil. The reason why he does this is, like I said earlier, that heroin is $20 for a hit, and Krokodil is only a couple bucks. And Krokodil, to get all the supplies to make it, is very easy. So the seller will make Krokodil because they work the same. They both give you that high that you're desiring, and so he'll make Krokodil, sell it at the price of heroin, resulting in a bigger income for him. And then the users will go, they'll use it thinking it's heroin. It's actually Krokodil. However, with that, Krokodil, their high sets in very shortly compared to heroin. Heroin takes a lot longer for the high to set in. For Krokodil, it's an instant high. However, Krokodil only lasts for a couple hours, the high of it. So in heroin, the high lasts a lot longer. Um, so with that, the Krokodil users are constantly injecting themselves with more and more Krokodil, and the potency level is actually 10 times higher than what heroin is. So this oftentimes leads to an overdose, which affects the nerves and it leads to an addiction. Once they're addicted, they go to the streets, they buy more of it, and then they buy more of it, constantly injecting themselves with more of it, resulting in more negative effects, whether they know at that point it's Krokodil or heroin. It doesn't really matter anymore because you're severely addicted to it, and no other drug can match that addiction of it. Um, so, like I said, Krokodil kind of affects the physical appearance, but it also affects the mouth, the nerves, muscle tissue, organs, and brains. Like I said, or you can kind of see like Krokodil. It sounds like the word crocodile. The reason why it gets that is because it causes the skin to be green and scaly before it falls off. So that's kind of how they got the word crocodile out of crocodile. The technical science word for it is metamorphine, but it's known around the world as crocodile, so that's what I've been referring to it as. Um, so like I said, it affects the skin. Obviously, with that, it affects the nerves. You can see in my slide there's some pictures of it where it affects the skin to the point where it's beginning to rot and then it deteriorates and falls off. And it affects the muscle tissues and the nerves with that. And sometimes people need a spot to inject it, so they'll actually inject it into their mouth or other areas of it as well. And then with that, it affects the organs and the brain of that as well. So it not only affects your physical state, but obviously if you're addicted to a drug like that, it's affecting your mental state as well. And if your life expectancy is only a couple years, like I mentioned earlier, if you're addicted to it, it's affecting your internal organs in your brain as well. So that's a little bit about the drug Krokodil. There's more information on some of my slides, and you can see pictures on there as well. So I hope you guys can go and check that out. I hope you learned a little bit about what this terrible drug is and the effect that it has on the world as well.